In this video, we're going to see how to make a 1 and 2 point perspective drawings. This number 6 on your sheet shows a vanishing point and a station point. Our station point will be the corner of our object that we're going to draw. So that's our starting point. Our vanishing point, imagine that we have a highway going up to the horizon, and it vanishes to a single point somewhere out there on the horizon. So our lines that we're going to draw all are going to go to that single point. So for this activity, it's best to use a ruler or straight edge in order to draw different lines. So we're going to use our cube from the previous activity, and we're going to use that as our object we're going to draw here. So what I want to do is I want to draw the front face of this object starting on the station point. So the bottom left corner is going to be our starting point. So I'm going to draw my rectangle in. So this is the front face of my rectangle, of my cube. The next thing I want to do is drawing some very light lines, even lighter than what I just drawn. So I'm going to go to the corner of my rectangle, and I'm going to line up the ruler from the corner to this vanishing point. And I'm going to make a very light line from each of those corners to that vanishing point. So when I view objects in real life, they are all going to vanish to some point out into space, out on a horizon. So I'm going to use those lines now to draw my cube. So this is how I view things in real life. Notice we don't have a 30-degree angle down here because we're viewing objects from a 1 or 2 point perspective, in this case a 1 point perspective. Now in the back I want to draw my other cube that's going to go here. So I'm going to sketch in the front face of this other cube that sits on top. Again, I'm drawing that lightly. And then I'm going to use my ruler to make other lines. And I'm actually going to erase these first ones so they don't get in the way. So sometimes you can erase them, sometimes you can keep them. So I'm going to then draw from the corners to that point out there in space. And a good way to make sure you get everything lined up is if you use your pencil on one of the corners and keep it still. It helps you line up corners so you can draw correctly. And I'm going to go right here where these two lines intersect, and I'll draw up and over. I'll darken these lines in. And then I could get rid of these lines on the inside because we wouldn't be able to see those. So very carefully I can erase those. So now what I'm looking at is a realistic view of what my eyes would really see in real life if I were to view this cube as a real 3D object. So this is the 1-point perspective drawing.